Friendship between animals of different species often feels like something out of a fairy tale, rare, unexpected, and heartwarming. Yet, as today's story shows, these connections are not only possible, but can also grow into bonds of extraordinary depth and tenderness. Even creatures as independent and self-reliant as cats have a need for warmth and companionship. This is the story of Tiger, a 13-year-old cat, and Tintin, a young squirrel who defied the odds and formed an inseparable friendship. Such a relationship was quite unexpected for a pet owner. What do you think would happen next? Be sure to keep watching. Their story begins with a man named Deacon, a 38-year-old man from Denmark, whose sharp eyes and compassionate heart set the stage for an incredible journey. One sunny afternoon, Deacon was walking in his yard when he noticed a tiny squirrel lying motionless on the grass beneath a large oak tree. At first glance, it seemed the squirrel might have been napping, but as Deacon approached, he saw the truth. The little creature was injured and unable to move. It seemed likely that the squirrel had fallen from its nest high up in the tree. Deacon initially hoped the squirrel's mother would come to its rescue. He decided to wait, giving nature a chance to intervene. But as the hours passed, it became clear that no one was coming for the tiny creature. The squirrel lay vulnerable on the ground, exposed to predators and the elements. Dean couldn't ignore its plight any longer and ultimately took it to his own hands. Gently, Deacon scooped up the squirrel and brought it inside. The little animal had a small but serious wound on its chest, likely sustained during the fall. Deacon cleaned the wound, applied a bit of antiseptic, and vowed to do everything he could to nurse the squirrel back to health. He decided to name the little one Tintin. He decided to adopt Tintin when the then 1-month-old squirrel fell out of a tree 4 stories high and into his back garden. As soon as I brought Tintin home, Coco was cuddling and cleaning him while Tiger had gone out, Deccan said. After Tiger came home, he understood his sister had claimed Tintin and wanted nothing to do with him, so stayed well clear. Raising a baby squirrel was no small task, but Deacon was determined. Tintin needed constant care, including being fed every couple of hours with a syringe filled with a milk replacement formula. Deacon kept the squirrel warm and safe, monitoring her wound and doing everything in his power to help her recover. At the time, Deccan shared his home with 2 cats, Tiger, a 13-year-old tabby with a strong personality, and Coco, a gentle and loving cat who had always been the peacekeeper of the house. When Tintin was introduced to her new surroundings, Coco was immediately curious. The nurturing cat quickly took to the tiny squirrel, as though she understood the little creature needed love and attention. Coco would often curl up next to Tintin, licking her softly as if she were grooming a kitten. She became like a mother to the squirrel, keeping her company and providing a sense of security. But Tiger, on the other hand, wasn't thrilled. He was wary of the squirrel and kept his distance, preferring to watch the strange new addition to the household from afar. Under Deacon's and Coco's care, Tintin began to thrive. Her wound healed, and her playful personality started to shine through. The little squirrel loved to scurry around the house, climbing furniture and chasing her own tail. Coco was always close by, keeping a watchful eye on her new charge. The bond between Coco and Tintin grew stronger with each passing day, and it seemed like they were destined to be the best of friends forever. It was at this point that he came to terms that she wasn't going to come home, and Tiger and Tintin began to form a close relationship even the owner could never expect. And from that moment, he watched how the pair's relationship has blossomed in the years since, detailing what the partners in crime get up to together, and how Tiger fiercely protects his now best friend. But life can be unpredictable, and tragedy struck when Coco suddenly passed away. Her passing left a void in the household that was deeply felt by everyone, especially Tiger. Though Tiger had always been independent, he had a strong attachment to Coco. Losing her was a devastating blow. For weeks he wandered through the house, calling out for her with loud, mournful cries. Dean tried to comfort him, but the heartbroken cat was inconsolable. In the midst of his grief, Tiger began to notice Tintin. The little squirrel who had once seemed like an intruder now caught his attention in a new way. Perhaps it was her playful antics or her fearless spirit. But something about Tintin drew Tiger out of his shell. He started spending more time around her, cautiously observing her from a distance. Gradually his wariness turned into curiosity, and then something more. One day, Tiger decided to approach Tintin. To Deacon's surprise, the once standoffish cat began grooming the squirrel, much like Coco had done before. It was as though Tiger had inherited Coco's role, stepping in to provide the care and companionship Tintin needed. From that moment on, the two became inseparable. Tintin, always full of energy, seemed to bring out a younger, more playful side of Tiger. The two would chase each other around the house, Tintin darting up curtains and furniture while Tiger padded along after her. Despite their size difference, they played together as equals, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. Tintin also adored climbing onto Tiger's warm striped back. She would perch there, her tiny claws gripping his fur as he walked around the house. Far from minding, Tiger seemed to enjoy carrying his little friend. At night, they would curl up together, Tintin nestled against Tiger's side, both of them purring softly as they drifted off to sleep. Deacon couldn't help but marvel at the unusual friendship blossoming before his eyes. Watching Tiger and Tintin interact was like witnessing pure joy. Their bond was more than just companionship, it was a lifeline for both of them. Tintin, once a helpless and injured baby, had found a protector and playmate in Tiger. And for Tiger, Tintin had brought a sense of purpose and comfort in the wake of his grief over losing Coco. Their bond wasn't limited to the confines of the house. When Deacon took Tintin and Tiger outside for supervised playtime, Tiger became the squirrel's guardian. He would watch over her closely, keeping other animals at bay and ensuring her safety. If another cat or even a large dog came too close, Tiger would position himself between Tintin and the potential threat, his protective instincts kicking in. Tiger is like a stepfather or big brother to Tintin, but he's also definitely the boss. They always greet each other with nose bumps, and Tiger always accompanies us when we're out walking, never leaving Tintin's side. I've lost count of the amount of times Tiger has spotted and chased off hawks, cats, and even large dogs. No matter the size of the dog, Tiger will stand his ground to protect his friend. Deacon often joked that Tintin thought she was a cat, and that Tiger had taken on the role of an older brother. Indeed, Tintin had picked up many feline behaviours, from curling up on soft cushions to purring when she was content. Tiger too seemed to embrace his role as her protector and playmate, treating her with the same care and affection he would have shown a sibling. The friendship between Tiger and Tintin is a rare and beautiful thing. It's not every day that you see a cat and a squirrel forming such a deep bond. Their relationship serves as a reminder that love and friendship can transcend species, bringing together even the most unlikely of companions. Deacon, the man who started it all by saving Tintin, often reflects on how one small act of kindness set this incredible story in motion. By rescuing a tiny, injured squirrel, he not only gave her a second chance at life, but also helped heal the heart of a grieving cat. Today, Tiger and Tintin continue to share their lives, bringing joy to everyone who meets them. Their story has touched the hearts of many, proving that the bonds of friendship can form in the most unexpected ways. Whether they're playing, eating, or simply napping together, Tiger and Tintin are a testament to the power of love and companionship. Thanks to Deacon's compassion, Tintin was given a chance at a happy life. And thanks to Tiger's open heart, she found a friend and protector who will always be by her side. Together, they've shown the world that the most extraordinary friendships can come from the most unexpected places. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving us a thumbs up, tell us what you think in the comment section, and lastly, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.